Hi guys, Sarah Preston with Sarah Preston Healthy Living, and I am a certified menopause, metabolism, and fat loss coach for women over 40. And really, today I'm here to talk less about health and fitness and more about our kids. And this is going to be a short one because I don't have any huge pieces of advice, but I did want to do this because I know a lot of you are going through the same thing. You're sending a kid off to college soon. Maybe it's your first, maybe it's your last, and you're going to be empty nesters. But I really just want you to know that you're not alone and that there's a lot of moms out there who are going through the same emotions that you're going through. And even though it's my second time around doing this, I can't say that it's any easier. I don't know how you guys feel. I would love to know in the comments how you guys are feeling, if you can resonate with any of this, but I just can't even like think about it. We're going through graduation right now, and school is ending, and then of course he'll be going off to college in August, and I like don't even want to think about it because every time I think about it I just like tear up. I don't know why this is so difficult. Not gonna cry, but the grad parties are happening, and I don't know if you've had to do this. We didn't have a grad party for my oldest, but for my second, he wanted a grad party. And so you have to go through all of these old pictures and, find pictures of when they were younger. I do not recommend doing that because I don't know. It's like you just start thinking, where has the time gone? Like, why didn't I enjoy it more? Or why did it have to go so fast? And I did enjoy it. That's the thing. It's like you look back when they're babies, and I can hardly talk about it without crying. Like, you look back when they were toddlers, and it's just hard. It's like you want to keep them young, you want to keep them at home. You want to go back to those days of, when they were so sweet and little. And I have such a good relationship with my son that we're going to miss having him around. And so that part's really hard. So I don't suggest looking at old pictures. Um, but I do suggest being there for all of it. I mean, I know I want to be there for as much as possible. The grad parties, the senior breakfast, all of the things this summer that we have going on, so that I can really just treasure the rest of the time that we have. And just a reminder, and I remind myself this, they will come back. My older son has come back for 2 summers. They don't always come back after that. Sometimes they have internships and stuff like that, or they do classes at school, but they will come back. And actually, when they come back, it's kind of hard because you get used to them being gone, and then all of a sudden they come back and they're used to being on their own. So that first summer that my son came home, it was kind of it was just like, what kind of rules am I supposed to set here? Am I supposed to let him kind of do what he wants? But we still have rules at our house. So we kind of talked about things and made sure he understood, our expectations. And it ended up being an amazing summer. Of course, like getting them a job and making sure that they're not just, doing whatever they want all summer helps too. So what else do I want to talk about? They also want, these kids that are graduating and heading to college. It seems like they just want to hang out with their friends all the time. And that feels, you're just like, why? I mean, don't you want to hang out with us, or we want to do stuff as a family? But I think you kind of have to let them, because this is normal. This is what all kids, it doesn't mean they don't love us and their family. It's just they want to be with their friends. And that's just the way high schoolers are. I always say that it's like a rope. So it's like you're playing tug of war, and they're on one side and you're on the other side. And as you go through high school, you're slowly like letting out more slack on that rope. You're kind of giving a little bit, you start letting them hang out with friends a little bit more when they're like freshmen. And then when they're sophomores, they get their license. That's giving them even more freedom. And, as you go along, you're just slowly letting out that rope until they're farther and farther and farther away from you. And then it's time to let them go. And also I say, this is what we raised them for, right? It's like this is why we were given this 18 years. Sorry. This is, this is what we parented them for, to be independent. And this is why I taught my kids to do laundry when they were in kindergarten, because we want them to be independent. We don't want them to live at home forever. And I have to say, with my older son, by the time we got to the end of summer, when he was ready to go to college, I was like, you need to go. It's time to go. And that just depends on the kid, I think. But he was just trying so hard to gain his independence. He wanted to stay out later and he wanted to like do all these things. And he was just so ready that I kind of felt like, okay, it's time for you to go. You're ready. Like, I'm ready for you to be gone. Not that I wanted him to, but I was ready by the end of the summer. So I think God, kind of prepares us, or our circumstances, leading up to this really prepares us to do that. But the other thing that I felt with my older son, I'm starting to feel with this one too, is like you have to teach them everything that you ever wanted to teach them in these last few months before they leave. I start thinking like, did I tell them, have I honed in enough about don't do drugs, don't, don't be getting anyone pregnant. Like, have I told them everything that I want them to know? And you feel like, oh my gosh, I haven't done my job as a parent. Like there's so many more things I want them to know, even though you've probably told them. It's like you want to tell them all over again, all these things so that they don't forget. Like you're going off to college, not to be walking around at night, right? Like by yourself, not to get in cars with people you don't know, not to drink a drink if, you didn't pour it yourself. It's just like, you feel like you need to tell them every single thing, just to like protect them because you still want to protect them. And let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, and then, I always encourage my kids too, when they go to college, to get involved, because it can be a hard transition when you go, especially if you're a kid that's in high school that does a lot of sports and activities and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of free time in college, a lot. And so not only do you have to know how to manage your time, but getting involved, with, an organization or an intramural sport, or my son's going to play a sport there. So getting involved really helps because they're just not used to so much free time. And that can feel, it can feel a little lonely or boring, and they, could get into things they shouldn't or whatever, but definitely get involved. So, and then for me, as they leave, if you're empty nesting after this one leaves, this is an amazing time for you to do things that you couldn't do when you had kids at home. It might free up your time to work on your health a little bit more, work on your fitness, get involved, volunteer, spend more time with your husband that you guys weren't able to do when you're shuffling kids around all the time. So look at the positive as to things you'll be able to do. And thank goodness for FaceTime. We didn't have FaceTime when we were in college. So we had to, in fact, we had to pay for long distance phone calls. Do you remember that? And I remember I had a calling card that I had to use to call my parents. So I mean, how lucky are we that we have FaceTime and we can FaceTime with the kids, if we want. And I just don't check their location. When they go, let them be the ones to reach out. Of course, you reach out and text them and stuff and see how they're doing, but really try to give them that space. So anyway, If you can relate to any of this, leave me a comment below. I'd love to chat about it because it's just not an easy time, but we all have to go through it. It's just part of the process. I just can't believe that I'm this old, that I have kids going to college. It's crazy. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day.